you can always try to get a quick dollar out of somebody,
Cash grab,
cash grab situation. But do you want to just get as much money from one client one time, or do you want to build a rapport so this way, that person can come in your chair weekly or bi-weekly, month after month, year after year? Because when you build a rapport with people, when you take the time to learn people, when you take the time to build a relationship, it can go, for years to come. And then more than just money, like opening up different doors, opening up different avenues, being able to, meet different people that typically money's not going to help you with.
Yeah. Relationships.
Right.
Because that's really how the world works. Welcome to the PPIA Impact Podcast, where real stories meet real success. We celebrate the transformative careers of entrepreneurs within the beauty industry. I'm your host, Hassan DeMarco. Together, we'll explore the journey of barbers, cosmetologists, makeup artists, and more who have defied the odds and achieved remarkable success. Get ready to experience the profound impact of their stories. Let's ignite your passion and unleash your potential here on the PPIA Impact Podcast. All right, so we'd like to welcome you guys to the newest episode of the PPIA Impact. My name is Hassan DeMarco. I'm your host, and you know what we do here. We interview and talk with some people in the industry who have very interesting backstories and are closely associated with the Pennsylvania Professional Image Alliance. So today we have a special guest with us, Rueben, from the owner of Barbers on Broad. You might know about his barber shop, but if you don't, you're in for a great surprise. Rueben, we'd like to welcome you to the show.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, man, it's nice for you to be here. This is no surprise. This podcast is all about the impact, and we don't take that lightly. We know that there's some trailblazers in our industry right here locally, based out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and we count you as one of those trailblazers. So we'd like to thank you for taking the time out with us on this Monday morning. You could be doing
Appreciate
a lot
it.
of other things.
Thank you for having me. I'm definitely excited to be here.
Yeah. We wanted to get you on the schedule. I'm really excited to talk with Ann. And she's got you on the schedule, and you have a very successful business model, very successful business. You've been around for a number of years, but the only thing about social media and modern day advertisement and marketing is sometimes we just don't get to know the person behind the brand.
I'm gonna be honest. That was actually intentional. The fact that I'm not like the face of my brand, in the sense of, because when I opened my shop 9 years ago, my goal was to set it up in a way where I can get people talking about the business and the people that are in the business, and not so much the person that's running the business. Because my goal was if I can get the business going without my face having to be there, and if I'm not there, it's gonna continue to grow, and it doesn't require my face for people to come in and walk through the door. So it made it a lot harder in the beginning, because if it was who's Barbers on Broad? What's Barbers on Broad? And then my original location was kind of a mystery. You could easily walk by it and miss it, even though we were right there on Broad Street or whatever.
Yeah.
But overall, over the years, as the people got acclimated to the brand, as people got acclimated to the type of quality service that we provide, it's helped. Whereas even if I'm not there, to open, or even if I'm not there at all that day, people still coming in because we have an amazing staff that's gonna provide quality service, that's gonna give the client what they're expecting, above and beyond what they're expecting in most cases.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, see, y'all heard that. He's been trying to hide behind the business all this time, but we're going to expose that today. We're going to expose that today. So you guys are really in for a treat. Rueben has a very unique journey. He has a very unique system that he has in play. Rueben, just to give you a heads up, our listeners come from all different backgrounds. They're new barbers, new stylists, makeup artists, all types of people in our industry. And this is probably one of the few podcasts that you'll find that's devoted to our industry. So I want to just encourage you, hey, be open with us. Let us know what's going on behind the curtain, so to speak, because I'm sure there are people here that can benefit from that. So,
sure.
Yeah, man, let's jump right into your background. So you're Haitian by descent?
Yes, I'm actually Haitian born and raised. I came here when I was
Not
boule. I came here when I was about 12, about to be 13. So summer of 98. I went to middle school here. I went to high school here.
Okay.
And after high school, I wasn't able to go to college. Quite frankly, I didn't have citizenship at the time. So because I'm Haitian immigrant, I didn't have a green card or anything like that, so I couldn't go to college. At least I couldn't go to college and get a scholarship. I had the grades, but not having green card or citizenship, I couldn't go to college. And, I basically took a year and tried to figure out what I was trying to do. And then I had my uncle and some other family friends who were just like, yo, what do you think about barber school? So my first thought initially was like, I'm not sure, because like I didn't really have like a set barber that I'm like, yo, this is what I'm trying to be like, you know. But like I did have barbers that I knew that like made really good money, but I wasn't sure if it was something that I wanted to do necessarily. Yeah. But then I decided, you know what's the worst that could happen? So I went to barber school, did that for a year, graduated, and been in the industry ever since. So 18 years later, here we are.
Look, man, that means it was a good decision that you made. You know, a lot of people, sometimes people think about our industry and it's like, oh, he didn't go to college or she didn't go to college. She doesn't have a degree. But it's so funny, trades. I love trades because, you can get to the money really quickly. And we have so many people in our industry that make six figures, do, not to minimize other industries and other businesses and professionals, but, our industry is something to be reckoned with. You're taking care of family, right?
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I raised my kids. My oldest son just turned 18 2 weeks ago. I mean, he's actually in high school. He's a senior. He's about to graduate. He's doing the trade as well. He's doing auto body mechanic. I mean, trades are what carried this country for the most part. You know, you got masons, you got electrician, you got carpenters, you got barbers. You got a lot of different trades that are required in order for you to, for this country to really work. It's college degree is essential. Don't get me wrong, and depending on the field that you're going for,
right.
And if you're going to doctor, lawyer, engineer, things like that. But if college is not your first option, there are other options for you to make a good living. Yeah. And definitely I'm glad I chose barbering because it's allowed me a lot of like variety as far as like flexibility, all over time, of course, not right away, but flexibility, the ability to earn a living without having any type of like cap to it. For one, if I was working a regular 9 to 5, sometimes, you're stuck as far as like how many hours you can work, what's the max you can make, hourly and everything like that. Whereas, once you get established behind the chair, you get established in a barber shop, you get your clientele rolling. Yeah. You could be in there 12 hours a day if you want to be.
That's right.
As long as you're providing the clients a quality service, they're going to keep coming in.
That's right. That's right. I mean, the trades, we movers and shakers. We get things done, man. And that's always been a really, really good selling point for anyone interested in a trade. So I know when I came out of high school, I graduated at 17. I was able to go right into barber school. So you got started at a young age too, barbering?
I got started at 19. I got my license at 20.
Yeah. So what was that like? Your first shop? How'd that journey go?
My first shop, I worked there for 6 months. You just turned your clippers on
and then people just lined up outside?
Nah, not even close. I wish it was that. So honestly, one of my childhood friends, I still cut him to this day. I don't cut him as much as I used to, but he was I was like 17, 18, and I picked up the clippers, and I would be cutting hair on my steps, and he was like one of my first clients or whatever like that, and I wasn't good. I was not good, but he was cool enough to rock a bad haircut and still get the girls and still move around. So that's my bro for life, man. He knows who he is.
What's his name, man?
Jamar.
Yo, thank you, Jamar. We appreciate you, man.
Jamar is one of my original clients, man. To this day, that's still my guy. He's a nurse now too. He's he got as a BSN and everything like that. So that was one of my original clients that I used to cut and used to do bad phasing on the back of the neck. But like I said,
he's stuck. We all need that, man.
Couldn't nobody say anything to him, because he was cool enough to still get him. So it worked out.
Yeah, we think our Jamar is like, I think we've all had people that have helped us out early on. So
for sure.
Yeah, so Jamar gets you going, you get your confidence up, you're in your first shop. How long were you there before you moved on to start your own?
My first shop, I was in there for 6 months. I learned how to do lock maintenance there. I learned how to be a versatile barber there. Because when I went to barber school, one of my goals was I didn't want to just be the barber that just stands behind the chair and just cut hair all day. Because I learned, we had over 100-something years of experience between all the teachers that we had. Okay. When I went to barber school, I went to Tri-City Berean. They've closed down a long time ago since then now. But back then I remember one of my teachers, Mr. Woods. He was one of the original
you had
barbers.
Mr. Woods?
Absolutely. You know Mr.
Yeah, I had Mr. Woods, man.
You know about Mr. Woods, man.
Yeah,
He's
I
one
went
of
to
the original barbers
School, yeah.
that introduced, what was it? What was the name of that style? Perming, like perming men's hair.
Yeah, yeah.
He's one of the first barbers
like
to do that in the city of Philadelphia. So he made a lot of money.
Yeah, Mr.
doing
Woods
that back
is,
then, man. Like
look, pause for a second, bro. Like, so I went to Tri-City. Ruben went to Tri-City Berean, which was a merger of two schools.
Right.
Tri-City had a great, huge reputation. It had been around by the time I went to school. It had already been operating for like, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 years. I don't know how long they have been operating, but there were many teachers, but two really stood out to me.
Smoke.
Mr. Woods and Smoke.
I already knew he was going like
Smoke.
Smoke was Edward Scissorhands.
Yes,
real life
Smokeology.
Edward Scissorhands, man. That was that guy.
Listen,
the stuff that he could do with a pair of shears.
Listen, I don't mean
amazing.
I don't mean any disrespect. I don't know that he's with us any longer. He's a much older gentleman.
Yeah,
when I started school,
these guys were much older. I know Mr. Wood passed away a few years ago.
Yeah. I think we've lost both of them.
Yeah,
Smoke had a classic class called Smokeology.
Yes.
And he taught clipper calibration.
Yeah.
But also he taught us about the bravado that comes along with being a barber, like how to really sell ourselves and market ourselves. I still use the techniques some 30 years later that I learned from Smoke and Mr. Woods. Man. I can't say enough about those guys. Clipper calibration,
Mrs. B.
Yeah, we had a lot of the same teachers, man.
For sure.
Yeah, so hey, listen, those two gentlemen, as well as those other teachers, they went on to usher a crop of highly educated barbers in the Philadelphia area.
Shout out to them guys.
Yes.
Shout out to them for sure.
There's so many like circuit educators, national and international educators that I know that they've taught right from the Philadelphia area. And I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence that these guys are all as
top of their games.
Yeah. So
listen, I'm grateful for having so much knowledge because honestly, I don't know what type of money the teachers were making, but like to come back and say, you know what, I'm gonna pour into this new crop of people that say they want to take this barbering thing seriously. That say they want to learn about this trade, this skill, this ability. I can speak for myself. Like I'm in a position now where I'm able to give back, but for a long period of time, I wasn't. It was a lot of grinding going on. It was a lot of I got to do for me first.
Right.
So everybody don't necessarily want or feel the need to turn back around and pour into other people.
Yes. Yeah, but they obviously did. They did. Like you said, we don't know what they were compensated, but I don't think it was enough because these guys, like, man, they impacted us in a major way. No pun intended. I know this is the PPIA impact, but they impacted us for real. So
for sure,
I'm sure that was instrumental in your start.
Definitely,
you go through these phases in your career, and now you land at I want to say a very notable shop in the city. You guys are located on North Broad?
Yeah, 1220 North Broad Street, Suite 3.
Yep, that's like Broad and Gerard for those who are interested.
Yeah, right across the street from the OIC building.
Yep, yeah, so you're there. How many people you have on your staff now?
It's 5 of us. Five of us. We're a 7-chair shop, so we got two openings, but it's 5 of us right now.
Y'all hear that? We're going to get into why you might want to look into Rueben at Barbers on Broad. He has an opening. So you do more than just stand behind the chair. You're also very influential with your staff.
I love my staff, man. Majority of my guys I've had for at least 5 years now. One of them has only been this year, but he actually started with me like 6 years ago. He just it didn't work out in the beginning because it was some other stuff going on. So he left, but he came back and started with us the beginning of this year. So he's been there. He's been there all year. We actually just came back from dinner in New York. Over the weekend, so we had a great time out there. Honestly, I try to do that at least once a year. Where we all go somewhere, pick a spot, go to dinner, and enjoy. Just like trying to have some type of camaraderie. I mean, we have great camaraderie in the shop. Everybody work as a unit.
But to get away from the business,
and you listen, man. Let your hair down, let your guard down.
So you always up there eating good, huh?
Eating good, having a great time, man. Spent the night up there, had a great time. The guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. We got back, yesterday evening. Mm-hmm. It was great, man.
How do you feel like, how do you think that affects the quality of the shop, the atmosphere, the relationships? keeping things like that on the calendar, has it been beneficial?
I think it's extremely beneficial because a lot of times, I guess bigger brands may have the budget to do that, and sometimes they might have like getaways for the staff and everything like that. And I just try to think of like, all right, honestly, when I used to work at the shop that I used to work before I opened my own shop, Barber Time, the owner there, my first year starting there, he took all of us out for dinner.
Nice.
And that honestly was what was the seed that kind of planted in my head. Like, you know what? When I have my own shop, I want to start doing the same thing. Because that was my first, like, he took at the time like 10 or 11 of us out to dinner.
I like that.
And took care of everything. And it was just like, man, like that's cool. I've never been anywhere where anybody did that before. And I was just like, when I get my own, I'm gonna make sure I do that. I do that with my guys. The minute I can afford to do so, I'm gonna do the same thing. So I'm really just keep pushing forward as far as what I learned, in my experience as a up and coming barber when I first got in the shop at my previous establishment.
Yeah, I love that, man. That's like culture. You're creating a culture, and I think our industry needs that. I think that there's a lot of professionals. Let's be honest, Rueben. We'll get into some of the challenges you've had and how the landscape has changed, especially after COVID. But I think that if more of us put thought into what is it like to work for me? What is it like to work for my business behind a chair? Then we could create an environment where people are happy to work for us, happy to come in, because it's not always easy. We got to lay down rules and regulations, and you got to, hold people to a standard. And sometimes if you're just always that guy that's just enforcing rules, then, it's easily can be seen as, hey, this guy's just an enforcer. He's just the police here. He's just a cop.
Honestly, I just try not to take myself too seriously, because at the end of the day, what motivates me is not what motivates the next person. So for me, in the beginning, my motivation was, trying to make as much money as possible because I have family to take care of. I have bills to take care of. I have XYZ to take care of. But for some people, they don't have as much responsibility. Their mindset is not, okay, let me make X amount of money a month. It's just, all right, if I can make enough so I could go live my life and enjoy my life, that's all I want.
Yes.
And so understanding that and not trying to like minimize people because, they don't want what you want. And then trying to figure out, okay, this person wants this. How do I make sure that like what you want, I can help you nurture that and I can help you properly grow that. And instead of me trying to say, yo, why do you want that? You shouldn't want that. You should want what I want. Because what inspires me is not what inspires them and vice versa. So just being more understanding of people is essential, because a lot of times we tend to want people to only see things from our point of view. And that's where I think the disconnect happens with, a lot of time with the younger generation and the older generation. I'm like right in between. So I get both sides. I see why older barbers feel like, I'm tired of the younger barbers. They don't respect this. They don't want to do that. And I get why the younger barbers say, yo, I'm not trying to be like the old head that's just stuck in one way, only see things how they want to see things.
Yeah. I think that's beautiful. I love the fact that you're looking at things in an unselfish way. It's not just about what you want or what the business needs, but you're taking the time to say, hey, in order for me to get the best out of this staff member, like it needs to be a humanized experience. Like this person may be a father, or perhaps he's in school, or maybe he's, a young guy, or someone, he may be a veteran. Like everyone's needs are different. And I like that. I like that you're able to see beyond what people offer on the surface as far as their skills. That goes a long way.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So, this thing came along, you might have heard of it. It's called COVID. I think it's easy to look at it and think back about the negative impact that it had. But I will say, I think that there's some positives that have come out of it too. I think it's challenged a lot of barber shops and salons, and there's been a challenge, but I think people have risen to the challenge. And I think that it's created some unique changes and opportunities and experiences for people. How's it been for you?
COVID was great, but it was great in the sense of like, it allowed me to reset and recalibrate. So initially it was like, this is the worst thing ever. Like, the shop is closed. I don't know how I'm going to make money. Like everybody else was fun. It was like, man, this is terrible. Like everybody's dying. It seems like you can't go outside. And I have asthma and I grew up with asthma. So like when I'm hearing, my understanding of it is like somebody like me, like I can't be around nobody when this is happening because I'm going to die.
Yep.
That was my thought and my processing in my mind. So the first, I'll say month and a half, 2 months, I'm freaking out. I'm in the house. I'm gaining weight. It's my, like, I don't even, typically my eating habits are pretty decent.
Yeah.
Or not decent. I don't eat well, as I should say. I don't eat regularly. I'm not a big snacker or anything like that. I do love my cookies though.
All right.
But
you gotta have something, man. You gotta have something.
But overall, like, I'm pretty good as far as diet. But like the first 2 months of COVID, I gained like 10, 15 pounds.
Yeah.
Cause I'm home now. I'm home. I got nothing to do. I can't go outside. I go outside in my yard and everything like that. But there's nowhere to go. So I just find myself just eating up every snack that we have and just.
Yeah, it was a culture shock. I put on the COVID weight. I think we all put on them pounds and
after the first 2 months, I'm just sitting there like, all right, somewhat feeling sorry for myself. My body started feeling bad because like this is my first time I'm sitting down and like I don't have my arm in a motion to cut hair for 8, 9, 10-hour days.
Yeah.
So resting my shoulders, believe it or not, became painful.
Wow.
So like I was in pain after like the first month and a half from like my body not being used to just being regular without, raising my shoulders all the time. And I'm talking about like, I couldn't even play video games because I like resting my arms, resting my shoulders was a painful position to be on because prior to that, 5-6 days a week,
right.
This is me, 10 hours,
just locked in.
9-10 hours a day. I'm like this. So
yeah. I mean, if I could butt in there, I think all of us kind of found ourselves like COVID caused me, and I know many people that are listening can relate. We all took a step back and just had to reflect like, wow, my first thing was like my body needed a rest. That's what I felt like. Like when COVID happened and I found out that I could not physically go into work and I got a chance to rest my body. I think I was probably like at my 25-year mark. I was exhausted. And I just like after COVID, when it was time to come back into work, I just was like, I think the world started to reflect on like, why was I working that hard? Like, why was I working that many hours?
You had a goal. Yeah. I know for me, I had a goal. I had a goal that I wanted to achieve. And like, even when I got close and I achieved that goal, I was still going at the same speed, at the same drive, with the same intensity. I didn't even take the time to set a new goal because it's like I achieved the goal and I'm like, it's not what I thought it was going to be. And I'm still going like, all right, maybe if I keep going harder, it's going to hit different. And then COVID was like that wall that was just like, yo, go sit down.
Exactly. For sure.
And then I sat down and I got fat and I went and then I got out of shape and it was just like, I don't know what this is. Like I was in pain and I'm thinking, okay, did I damage something at first? But then once I started realizing like, yo, like I'm hurting because my body's not used to this rest.
Yeah.
I had to start thinking, okay, you know what? I can't let myself get to this point anymore because now I'm not in pain because I did something. I'm in pain because I'm not doing something. It's almost like my body was in withdrawal from not working. Mm-hmm. So it kind of gave me a different approach to like, okay, what else is there if I'm not working?
Okay. If
I'm not working and I'm not with my kids, who am I?
Yeah.
So it was almost like sometimes when you got professional athletes that they got to retire at a young age because of an injury or just because they made enough money, by the time they're like 32, 33. Right. And now they got to start living a life outside of being whatever that profession was. Right. That was me for like 3 months. And it was just like, okay, you know what? If I can't cut hair anymore, what do I do? What's the next step? Yeah. I got my aunt, who's a licensed insurance agent, was one of the first people on my line, like, hey, you ain't cutting hair no more. I'm trying to get you in this insurance thing. Yeah. You might as well join the team. Yeah. So I went and got my insurance license.
Oh man, nice. Yeah.
So I'm a licensed insurance agent.
Yeah.
I don't use it much.
Mm-hmm. So before the pandemic, how many hours a week you think you were putting in?
60 at least.
Yeah. I was like at the same mark. I was doing like 60 hours, man.
On the low end.
I don't even want to talk about how many heads I was cutting. Like it was crazy.
It's nonstop. It's like it's a machine. It's like, because especially during the holiday seasons, everybody forgets that, you got a holiday as well. So it's like, yo, I see your schedule saying it's not working. Yeah. Your booking system must be wrong. You're not, what, you on vacation? No, I'm booked.
I'm booked. Yeah.
I don't see any openings for the next 3 days. What's going on? You're not here? Yeah. I'm here. Yep. I don't have availability. Yep. So then you find yourself, opening up an extra slot or two or three or four.
Yeah, and now it's 11:30.
And you're still in there.
Yeah. So post-pandemic, how has that changed? Are you still doing 60 hours? Are you close to 60? What has it done for you?
I'm practically part-time. I mean, I still cut, I'll say 30 to 40 heads a day. I'm not a day, I'm sorry, a week.
Okay.
But like I'm practically part-time compared to what I was doing before.
Yeah.
But I also, so like I have kids that I have to pick up from school.
Okay.
So a lot of times what I would do, I would drop my kids off to school in the morning, go to work, leave work, go pick them up from school, drop them home, make them something to eat real quick, and then run back to the shop and then work till the evening.
Yes.
So what I did, instead of all that back and forth and the higher price of gas and all that, now I don't come in till 4.
Yes.
I work 4 to 10. And then in the morning, I could take them to school and I go to the gym. I picked up jiu-jitsu.
Oh man.
You know, I just been living a life again, man.
Yeah,
I'm doing more of things that I enjoy. And so like barbering is like, it's part of what I do, but it's not all I am.
Yeah. And I think that's what we found, like on the other side of that. A lot of people found like a work-life balance.
For sure.
And, you know, like I guess to be a little controversial here, you know, we got some OG barbers, and I think I fall into that OG barber category by age.
Right.
But I try not to do that by mentality. We have millennials, like I'm Gen X, you know, so I came up in the 90s. Like that was when I hit my heyday in the 90s. And, you know, we
still got it though, man.
Hey man, I'm trying to, you know, hitch my wagon to younger guys like you. And I want to keep growing and keep learning. My experience has been, had the privilege of mentoring a number of younger barbers. I don't know what they are now, what they're called. They're not millennials, they're zillennials. I don't know what people are now.
I don't know the terms neither. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Their mindset is very different than the mindset that I had, and it seems like you were a part of too. Like they don't want to have the workload. They want to have a more of a work-life balance. They don't want to be behind the chair for 60 hours a week. They rather do 20 or 30 hours, but they want to make what you make in 60 hours. And some of the old school barbers are like, hey, that's absurd. You know, you coming in jacking these prices up, or you're not going to have a clientele. Well, that's not true. People are paying for the experience, the services, and barbers are being compensated, and barbers and stylists have found a way to buy back more time. Have you seen that observation in your shop? Has that been your experience?
Absolutely. I mean, for the most part, we're mostly appointment based.
Mm-hmm.
We do take walk-ins here and there, but for the majority of our clients, book appointments. And so my shop's hours is from 10:30 to 8 p.m. But my staff can come in I have a barber that comes in as early as 7 a.m.
Yes.
So his schedule's open from 7 to 5. So if you want to get a haircut at 7 in the morning, and you can book with him and he'll be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you know, same as for, even though we close at 8, you can book with me as late as 9 o'clock. So
yeah, so like you guys have become more flexible.
Yeah.
All right, so more flexible. Has your price point changed since?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Our pricing has increased. We're still cheaper than most of the people around there, honestly. Even though we still get clients that come in with, how much y'all charge for a haircut? $40.
Yeah.
$50.
Yeah.
But I mean,
that's going to have those guys are always going to be there. But yeah, that's okay. So I love this conversation because you know your hours of availability have changed. Your schedule has gotten more flexible, and you've increased your price point, and this has helped create more of a work-life balance.
Absolutely.
So I'm sure that's been attractive to your staff too.
No, I mean, I give my staff autonomy to pick their schedule, what benefits them, while also working within the confine of what also going to benefit the shop. So like, because I'm not like, yo, you got to be here by 10 o'clock. You got to be here by. The barbers know if they have appointments to come in for their clients for the most part. Like, you know, if they're running behind, they communicate with the client. Let the client know. As long as you communicate with the client, that's my main thing.
Right.
You know, it's not so much like be there and wait around on people, but like if you're not gonna be there for whatever time, hey, listen, I'm not gonna be here whatever time. You know, let such and such know, and then giving that client the option of, hey, you know, such and such not gonna be here at this time. You want to wait for him? You want to reschedule? You want to book with this barber right here? You know, nobody's fighting over clients in the shop. Okay. You know, we have a camaraderie. Like if I'm not available, I have no problem sending one of my clients to any one of my staff because I'm confident in the type of service that they're going to receive, and vice versa. They don't mind sharing because the money's going to come back. As long as the money stays in the shop, it's going to circulate back to whoever's share, and we're all going to benefit from it because as long as the clients are coming in, they're going to bring the kids, they're going to bring the uncles, they're going to bring, you know, their brothers and their nephews and their sons and whoever, even their aunts too. Yeah. So it allows for a better flow.
Yeah, it does. It does. And I think that's where I started at, why I brought that up. COVID initially seemed like the worst thing in the world. And I'm sure it was, especially for people who lost their lives.
Not for sure.
Or we know the financial impact that it's had to many people and many industries. So I never want to minimize that. I don't want to come off the wrong way. But I think crisis, sometimes what we come out with on the other side is that the silver lining is that there's opportunity and there's change there. And I think early adopters were the ones who did best. Because I know the industry, there was a point in time where barbers didn't take appointments, where we were still a cash business. And now that's changed. Now most barbers take appointments. Most barbers are no longer cash businesses. So there's been so much evolution and change. And I think that if you're an early adopter and you find a way to make an adjustment, and that's what I like about the younger generation, they are with the adjustment. Some of the older barbers have seemed to like still want to plant their flag and be like, well, this is how the industry is. But no, we got to be flexible. We got to make changes. And I think that's a good thing.
I mean, if you don't change with the time's going to leave you behind.
That's right.
So
that's right.
Even with like the clippers that I use, you know, a lot of my staff are younger than me. So like they're more prone to like trying out different clippers and trying out different brands, and even got me to switch the brand of clippers that I got started with using to the clippers that I use now.
Yeah.
Because I'm used to doing things a certain way and it works for me. But then if there's a more efficient way of doing it, and you know, I can see that it's proven, and you know, I don't have to. I'm not gonna fight it necessarily, especially if I see 2 or 3 different barbers around me that and they putting out quality work with different brands, with different clippers. You know, the proof's in the pudding.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so, absolutely. It is, and you know, much credit goes to you for being flexible and being willing to make changes, because some aren't and they don't grow. So much credit to you for that. So I want to switch gears a little bit, and I want to talk to you about the impact of PPIA. And there's no surprise if you're a listener, you know that's what brings us here. And I know you have a unique experience. So we just talked about your journey, what it's been like, some of the challenges that you've had. Let's talk now about the impact of COVID and how PPIA was able to help you through that process.
I mean, financially, COVID was devastating. So even though it helped me figure out, you know, work-life balance in the long run, but initially, you know, the no EIDL, no paycheck protection program and everything like that. With joining PPIA, we were able to go to Harrisburg and talk to the Congress people and talk to the senators and actually get them to personally understand our issues. I know I could speak for myself, where like I spoke to Senator Street.
Okay.
And they were able to rectify some issues that I had as far as my paperwork and everything like that. And I was able to get a grant through PPIA. And honestly, just the work and the connections and the network that I'm able to make by being with this organization. You know, we got a lot of classes that we take. We go to the shows.
Yeah.
We get to meet the mayor. It's a lot of positive when you're around other people that you can exchange information, you can exchange ideas, and you could just get confirmation too. Sometimes we're like, hey, I've been working on this. I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think about this? Oh, you know, I'm working on the same thing as well. It's always beneficial when you have like-minded individuals that you can take the time to cross-reference different things that you're working on and just gain knowledge and exchange knowledge and just share.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think sometimes, especially nowadays, I think PPIA has a reputation. It's like, oh, I got grant money, or they, you know, helped me financially after COVID. But to be honest, that money comes and goes, right?
Sure.
But I think the long-lasting effect of PPIA, and like you mentioned, the connections that you make with other businesses,
for sure,
as well as the many events that they put on the calendar. So have you had any experience with that? Some connections you made or events that you attended, or any ways that PPIA has been beneficial to you?
The most impactful one so far has been the trip to Harrisburg, I could say.
Yeah.
Like I said, that was my first time in Harrisburg speaking to going into the different senators' offices, meeting who my district person was.
Okay.
Not only for where my business is, but for where I reside, where I live. It also humanizes the whole aspect of when you think about senators, congressmen, and, you know, different people that are in charge, because for the most part, you know, you don't see those people. You see them on TV. And those people that you vote for, they don't see you, the constituents, because you're just a vote to them in a lot of, or at least it's what it seems like. When you go up there and you actually meet with them, you talk to them, you shake their hand, and you're like, hey, listen, my name is Ruben, and I'm here because this and that. And you give them, they could put a name to the face now. It's not just a number. It's not just a last name. Like they can, oh, hey, I remember you. What's going on? How did that work out?
Right.
It helps to have that relationship.
Yeah, it sounds like that's been very impactful for you.
For sure.
You also mentioned like the trade shows and education.
Yeah.
Has that also been in your experience too?
No, it was a dope experience because one, I've been a part of MLB trade shows for years because Nori's been somebody who's a close friend of mine for years now. But this was my first time actually doing a class.
Yeah.
And I got to sit into a few classes prior to me being doing the class. So it was a great experience, both as a teacher and as a student. As a student, I watched first-hand demonstration of different styles, and one of the classes they were doing a weave unit, lace front.
Yeah, the lace
front unit, and like watching that whole process and
from start to finish.
From start to finish, that was dope. Because I do hair units for as a barber, but like watching the process on how to do the lace front. It's somewhat similar to how we do the hair unit or whatever, except there's no braiding involved.
Right.
Well, at least I don't do braids as far as like when I'm doing the male units. But watching it, the lace front, I was like, yo, I could do lace fronts for real, because it's the same concept.
It's the same concept, yeah.
It's the same
more
concept.
Than halfway there, yeah.
And charge a lot more too. So
Yep. Well, that's great, man. PPIA, as we know, they have so many resources, and I think that's the misconception that people have. Sometimes they think, oh, well, I could just go there for the financial impact. Like, okay, yes, that's a factor. But I think what people are overlooking are the many different things that they have on a calendar, like the past trade show that you're referring to, the Major League Trade Show here in Philadelphia.
Right.
Yes, you paid a ticket price to get into the overall show, but PPIA on the second floor had a whole floor dedicated to free education.
Listen, those classes were definitely super impactful.
Yeah.
Like I said, for me, the weave class was amazing. They had loctician classes as well. I was watching how because I have locks, but and I do lock maintenance. I'm not really that thorough when it comes to the crochet and the tool. So I was watching her use that, so I'm like, okay, I could add that to my repertoire now.
Yeah.
You got to take advantage. You know what I mean? Like if you're just there just because you're just trying to figure out how to make money. It's like as a barber. Yes, you can make money when you cut clients, but do you want to just get as much money from one client one time, or do you want to build a rapport so this way, that person can come in your chair weekly or bi-weekly, or, month after month, year after year, because you can always try to get a quick dollar out of somebody, and
cash
grab situation. But when you build a rapport with people, when you take the time to learn people, when you take the time to build a relationship, that it can go, for years to come. And then more than just money, like opening up different doors, opening up different avenues, being able to, meet different people that typically money's not going to help you with.
Yes. Yeah. Relationships.
Right.
Because
absolutely.
That's really how the world works. And I think for me personally, that's been my experience with PPIA. My experience, what has impacted me mostly is being in the room with peers in my industry, whether it's makeup artists, cosmetologists, barbers, nail technicians. It's having access to people and that humanizing effect to find out that, hey, we had the same challenges, or how did you go about firing this long-term employee, or what did you do for your taxes or for your benefits? How do you work that out? Like having that relationship is something that's been just truly, beneficial for me. And I think that's really the case for many people. So I know PPIA has monthly meetings. They're online, they're on Zoom. You get the invite, you can come out to the classes, you can talk, you can cherry pick information from those classes, or you can directly reach out to people. Somebody you may work in West Philadelphia, and that shop owner who's 5 blocks away, you didn't know, but they're a PPIA member. And now you got something in common. Now they can be a resource for you. So I think, that's just been, we really can't speak to how beneficial that is, just establishing those relationships. Yeah. So thanks for that. And thanks for enlightening us with your experience.
No problem.
So, hey, as we land this plane right now, I wanted to, we got listeners on here. Someone is out there listening. They're a shop owner. They're frustrated. They're thinking about giving it up, Rube. They're like, look, I done tried.
Reconsider.
It's like, I've been doing this. It's been 5 years since the pandemic. I can't get it right. I'm struggling with my payroll. The landlord won't fix what's going on around here. I got all these part-time guys. I used to have 5 part-time guys before the pandemic. Now I got
everybody's part-time.
Yeah, everybody. So,
the part-time part, honestly, man, it's just understanding that people have different things that they value, which is what I mentioned before, where like I give my guys the autonomy to pick their own schedule that works for them. You know what I mean? And it's just like working within those lines and not trying to, force such a strict, hey, man, look, I need you here by this time. And if you're not here by this time, I'm going to deduct. Because being a barber is not a 9-to-5 job. There's no pension, there's no benefits, there's no, like, if you're going to give people these hard, strict rules and regulations, then you got to make sure you're going to have other things to back, on the back end to benefit those things. You got to have certain benefits, i.e. insurance, medical leave, 401ks, so forth and so on. Like, barbers gotta know how to do all those things on their own. Like, not just barbers, business people, period, like entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't have a significant other that's gonna provide you with health insurance, you gotta go out into the marketplace and find your own health insurance. And if you got kids, same thing. And it's not cheap.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not cheap. So just, if you have a staff, you don't have the means to provide those type of benefits to them, then you got to give them the range and the rope so they can have their schedule to where it's going to benefit them to make sense somewhat for not having those benefits that, you're unable to provide.
Yeah, I get that overall from this pod with you. I get that. I think what stands out about my interview with you is the fact that you understand the necessity to be flexible.
For sure.
And to be understanding to circumstances. I've had the experience, and I've seen also with other companies that sometimes people try to run their business like a corporation.
Absolutely. And I'm not against that. But like, okay. You got to understand, if you're going to run it like a corporation, then you have corporation money to have, this corporation, when they don't come in, they have sick leave, they have this, they got maternity leave, they got paternity leave. They got all these things that they offer to this employee if you want to run your business in, like an employee-employer model. Yeah. Which, again, I'm not telling you what to do or not to do, but...
Yeah, and those models are okay. I think what they don't take into consideration, though, is that, first off, this industry is an industry of creatives.
For sure.
Number one. Secondly, unless you've been behind the chair, you really don't understand the degree of difficulty that there is with what we do.
No.
I do know that there is great benefit in having corporate structure, but sometimes corporate structure can be cold and rigid, and it doesn't allow a place for humanity to reside. So I think you've done a great job in that because you've allowed for your people to flourish. And I don't think it's a shock that you have 5 thriving barbers who've been with you long term. You said one guy was with you, left, and then has even come back. And I think that speaks to the atmosphere that you've created. So that's great. Appreciate it. If you had to kind of maybe just summarize or give out a gem to encourage someone to keep going, you said don't give up. Don't give up.
Don't give up.
What's that gem? How would you encourage somebody out there listening?
I mean, just humanize the whole process. That's what I would sum it up to. Put yourself in that other person's shoe. Try to be like, if you're gonna demand stuff from people, understand if you would be, if it was vice versa, would you do it? Put yourself in the person's shoes or what you're asking for them from. If I'm gonna ask you to come in at this time, if I'm gonna ask you to close at this time, whatever I'm gonna ask you to do, if I'm not willing to do it myself, then what's the benefit of me forcing you or trying to convince you to do it?
Yeah. I love that. Rueben, this has been very, very impactful. Thank you so much for spending some time with us today.
Thank you for having me.
For opening that curtain, so to speak, letting us see what goes on behind. So again, Rueben, if you are in the Philadelphia area, he can be located there at Broad and Girard. Barbers on Broad. Any socials or Instagrams where people
Barbers
can catch
on
you?
Broad, everything. Barbers on Broad, Instagram, Barbers on Broad, Twitter.
Yeah. He's also looking for two barbers that want to join the team. So
sure.
You guys
barber
can reach
stylist, loctician.
All right, look, flexibility. You just talked about it. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us here on the PPIA Impact.
Absolutely.
Where we, as you know, or you should know now audience, we welcome on barbers, stylists, people in the personal services industry who have a great impact in their community. Rueben is our newest interviewee. We'd like to thank you for tuning in. Remember, you can catch us on all platforms. We're streaming, and you can find the video of this on YouTube or Spotify if you haven't done so already. So again, we'd like to thank you. Thank you for listening in. Thank you, Rueben, for being with us. And we'll catch you guys next time on the PPIA Impact.